see who you are. And then we have the past president of BayEast, Steve Medeiros, which is the best position you can have. Now Barbara, she's so on time that she got here an hour early. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
Overachiever.
Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you all had a great holiday season. And hopefully we'll start the new year with a great year. All indications are that interest rates are coming down. A lot of buyers out there. What's the interest rate today, Claudia?
What's your credit score?
Let's say it's good. It's in the 700s. Let's say.
Are you 720 or are you?
Yeah, over 720.
So really, the high sevens. You know that perfect borrower with 30% down and the perfect credit. They're going to be getting it like 6 1/8, 6 1/4. So
That's what I thought.
yeah, they're.
What's wrong with that?
This
is my point. This is my point, because I bought my house almost 20 years ago at 8.5, and I thought I was getting a great deal.
You were?
And I refinanced, and I'm at 2.5 now. This is what the buyers need to understand: is market is cyclical. It's not
It has never been what it was ever in the history
We'll see that
of
again.
real estate. I don't think we'll ever see it again either.
in the 80s.
No, I'm talking about the 2.5%.
Oh no, that's
I
not
mean,
gonna
I bought my first house, I was 18 years old, 1959. And the interest rate then was 4.5%.
No kidding. Was that the lowest until the 2.5?
4.5% is the lowest I've ever
Really?
seen.
Because
That was, how many years ago? My God, 60-something, 65 years ago.
Why sell?
I'm sorry?
Why sell?
Exactly,
That's it.
yeah. That's why the interest rates have to come down a little bit more.
That's right.
And there are people that need to move, and there are people that want to retire, and so you have that business coming forward. Hi Melrose, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year, Melrose.
So anyway, so don't give up, just keep working, get those listings, and we'll be in good shape. And by the way, did your property ever sell yet?
I have it active.
Mm-hmm.
It's Niles Townhome.
Right.
1,440 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. And it's listed at $980,888. And it's open this weekend, Saturday, Sunday.
It has been open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of
Well, the
traffic?
problem was
Because of the holiday.
created, the problem was created by the seller.
Ah.
Because she found her dream house. And so my first open house was the 21st of December.
Really?
And that was the broker tour that no one came to.
Right,
No one from this office came to.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the second open house was December 23rd. And I had, a mediocre showing of buyers, no agents, not one. So the buyers' agents woke up after the first of the year.
Right.
So this weekend,
Yeah, well, that's the same thing
I've
here.
had 4 agents through with buyers and, 40 some odd visitors.
Wow, okay.
So,
what's
Yeah,
the age
I think you'll start.
it's over 90% funded. They're just in the process of re-roofing the whole community. And we were over 100% funded before that started. So it's one of the most solid homeowner associations in Alameda County. In fact, Lori Cabral owns a couple over there, don't you, in the trees? Yeah, you know how well funded that is. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Plus, I stayed there last year a little bit with my son and daughter-in-law when I remodeled my home, and it's just a beautiful community. Everybody's sweet.
Thank you.
It's super clean.
I live there. too.
Yeah.
It's a really, and this unit on Lindero is a beautiful location,
Well, they hold their value.
don't they?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because of the trees,
Yeah.
it gives you a completely different feel than most communities that are like that.
Yeah, it's very well managed, it's nicely located, the California Historic Nursery is right next door, that's never going to change.
Which you have a key
That's right,
to go walk around.
that is correct.
Very interesting.
So
Very good.
I'm not concerned at all.
No, I wouldn't be either.
Please don't drop the price.
I'm
Roger
not-
almost was like, hang tight, don't do anything, it'll blow
I
it
know,
up.
girl, I just had a chat with a seller on my way here, don't worry.
It's gonna happen.
I got you.
Okay, with that being said, anybody else have any new listings coming up?
But by the way, could I just say, the new agent that I'm training is Jerry's mentee, Soraya.
Oh,
She's doing a lovely job.
Oh, good.
I had an agent call me this morning to say that her clients were spoken to by Soraya at the open house. And Soraya told them about the anomaly of the HOA opening the garages, which is totally bizarre. It's not like that anywhere else. So she's doing a great job for me. So anybody that has an open house, go to Jerry and he'll help you.
And I have other mentors too that need.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
anyway, thank you, everybody.
Great, thank you. Okay, with that being said, anybody? No
I
listings
got
coming up?
something coming in, over there by Arrowhead. in
Birds and
the,
trees?
It's on Bucks Lake Lane. We're in the process of getting the renter out. It could be available in a matter of weeks, or it could be months, we're not sure. Because it's right near Harvey Park in North Fremont, the northest most point of Fremont. It's a 2-story, 4 and 2, it's probably gonna go in that 1.5 range. Give me a call.
Where is that?
Lake Arrowhead,
Lake
Harvey
Oh,
Park,
lakes and birds.
as you're heading towards Union City.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
knows
yeah.
where it's at. Not too far from
1.5?
Oh, yeah, all day long.
Wow.
It's not low to me.
Oh, well, it is, because
Okay.
it's kind of rough,
I
kind of
mean, I
rough.
haven't looked there, but.
It's a little rough. We don't know what kind of shape it's gonna be in once we get the renter out.
Right.
That's what we're working
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
very
luck
good.
with that.
Any- Anybody else?
on. We're in court right now.
Nothing? No way. Melrose, got anything?
We got Melrose.
You have the, I forgot to bring the calendar for the future.
No, I don't have it.
I'll go get it while you're doing this. Smoke it one.
Oh, I do. Wait a minute. I think I do. You don't know it? I just wanted to announce our content room. We now have a room dedicated to, if you wanted to go in with your phone and your iPad and do your videotaping. And backdrop right now is the Realty Experts logo. We do have some green screens on the chairs, and we're going to purchase another bigger one that could go behind you. But it's downstairs right across from the Resource Center. So if at any time you want to maybe even send a little quick message to your client, you're welcome to go in there and use the room. Okay?
That's
You
the
all
room
know-
right next to your office?
No, across from the Resource
Oh,
Center.
the other side, okay.
The other side
What are
of the
people
building.
doing with that?
I'm sorry?
What are people doing with that?
With the videos they create, the content they create, they put it on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You could go there and do a market update, and then take it and post it. A lot of different things that you can do.
Your video was nice.
Thank
It
you,
was
Lori.
nice to see you both.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I kind
Lori.
of was like, oh, it felt alive and not like
What
just.
video? I didn't see
Yeah, I
it.
didn't see it. It was in the email.
nice.
Every email that went out for this meeting, there was the video attached to it.
Oh, I didn't go down that far.
You missed
Somebody's
it.
coming to
Go
me.
back
I'll go back.
go back and look. It was very well done.
It was?
Thank you.
Wow.
I,
that-
I kind of, I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing. I don't have the guts.
We
to
were
do it.
laughing.
Why?
That's
I'm
what
not
you're
doing it.
supposed,
No.
that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, but I think if you practice, maybe.
Well, we had no script, Melrose and I, and it took us 2 days.
Oh,
We started
really? See?
cracking up so much.
See?
Because
That-
every time we
right.
start something, we say, oh my God, that's wrong, let's change it again.
Yeah, but it was nice.
Well, I'm
Well,
glad.
the first one we really did want, we went like 3 minutes, and then we were told
Right.
it needs to be 90
90
seconds or
seconds.
less.
Who's the
So-
expert that told you that? Yeah.
That's,
Staff,
that's kind of the guideline of average
Is it?
person.
staff looked it up, and then,
90 seconds seems long.
Yeah.
It's
I
not.
think-
well, 90 seconds or less. So
Oh, I see.
our video was actually 80 seconds.
It was.
So,
I applaud you for doing that.
It was good.
I'm camera
so
shy.
we'll do it a little bit more, maybe
didn't like it.
announcement, so when you see it come, please look for the video or an attachment or something.
I'll scroll down next time.
Thanks.
Well, we can have, maybe it's still there, so you should
Put
just
it
go
up
put
at
it
the
up.
top.
No, not now, but.
Yeah, or maybe I'll get the latest issue connected.
Sorry.
Could you please put your phones on silent?
Trying, sorry.
Excellent, what's the phone?
Well, do it on the phone, and then if you watch it
There we go.
synchronized.
Dialed in.
Okay.
Douglas, can we get somebody who can teach us something like this, how to post it, and then
That would be good.
is there a way we can bring this video, like she said, on top rather than at the
Down
bottom?
below.
Because I also missed it.
Thank you for that.
Well, it's a learning curve for all of us, so we're all learning at the same time. So once we have it, we can probably share it with you.
Okay.
I've actually reached out to BayEast Marketing Department
Yeah.
and asked
Nice.
if we can get a little help sharing how to do the videos and how to embed it into an email.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest, I don't watch those BuzzFeed videos that come from BayEast. Never do I watch them,
okay.
because I don't want to take the time to do it. I'd rather read it. Doesn't
Well-
interest me, because a lot of the times I'm watching these things while I'm standing in line someplace doing something else. So I don't care about the video thing. I'd rather read it. But
You're
that's
like
me. I'm
one in a million. That's
No,
okay.
younger people are into this all the time.
Yes, exactly.
I get it.
So-
I'm old and I like seeing them.
Dan?
And I'm older and I love seeing them.
Dan, and I have no interest.
Yeah. But see,
Well,
that's
you know,
it.
it-
Everybody has their taste.
Yes, everybody has their opinion.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. So, you know, some like, just, when I interview, I have visual aids and I have print. Because some people learn differently.
Yeah.
So everybody learns differently. Some people learn by looking at things and some people learn by seeing it, reading it themselves, you know. So that's how we try to accommodate both parties. So therefore, the email that was sent was also in print, flyer, and a video attached to it. So you had it both ways there, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So if you guys need help with the editing, I can help. Not expert, but I do have my own channel on YouTube.
Wow, that's impressive.
There you go.
Okay,
There
see,
you go.
there you go. All our experts
Why
are
don't you teach
stepping
a
up.
class?
I'm not that expert, but
Yeah, they're probably
You will be.
Yeah, that would be helpful. You have a
Yeah.
map, right? You use
yeah, I
Mac.
do. Yeah,
MacBook
sure.
Pro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I
could
do.
go with that. Okay.
Yeah, I go to your class. When are you teaching it?
We'll be working on it with you.
Perfect.
Okay, so in November, the end of November, November 30th, we had R and Lacey that did the business plan for 2024. And the copies, the document you got was a 23 business plan. If you want the 24 blank one, I'm more than happy to email this to you so that hopefully you remember what was said and you can go back and just start going through the process in the little packet to help you start your year off with a bang. So I think that's kind of all I have to say. Thank you for coming this morning. Thank you for participating. I want to thank our speakers, our CEO from BayEast, Tricia Thomas. She's here. I mean, it was a little tedious, maybe stressful getting here, coming through the canyon with the traffic. And then Barbara Clemons, our 2024 president, is also here to share information with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Melrose.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what's upcoming classes? Upcoming classes on January 16th at 10 o'clock in the morning. The one and only Doreen Roberts will be here, and she's going to do the buyer representation agreement. Are they for you is the question. And Doreen is excellent, and so that'll be on the 16th. Now, normally there's not a meeting the day after a holiday, because the holiday is the 15th, we're not open. Martin Luther King Day, but because we were able to get her on that day, we're going to have a meeting or a class.
It's not a meeting, it's a
It's a
training
class.
session.
It's a training session.
Very educational, very interactive, that's the word.
Interactive.
Interactive session with her in regards to the buyer broker agreement, yes.
Then on the 23rd, we have an office meeting. We're waiting for determining who it's going to be for that particular day. That afternoon at 1 o'clock, there's going to be manager training by me. And then on January 30th, there'll be training how to host an open house by Kay Corbell. Kay is very good at that.
Thanks so much.
And so hopefully you'll be here. I'm going to ask all, especially the new agents, because we have several new agents, not all of them are here, what classes they want coming up now for the new year to begin with. We have several different choices. Purchase agreement, listing agreement, all the disclosures, realty experts disclosures,
Disclosures.
on and on and on. You're not a new agent. But
They always change.
I want to hear what they have to say.
New laws.
New laws, not too many of them,
But I'm really.
but I can have that out. It's not too much this year.
What's coming up?
Yeah, hardly anything,
But the disclosures too, I'll send it out to you, girl.
yeah. But disclosures, well, how about the new agents? Any,
You know what I want to say is you guys have sent out, invites to cars. I think it's been the California Association of Realtors, like the attorneys speaking about the different forms and those things. Those have been very helpful.
Yeah, very much so.
And I appreciate the prompt, like, hello, there's a course, every time you guys do that, I'm in it, I'm looking at it, I don't care, I've been an agent for 20 years. Those things make a difference.
Especially if it's Neil Kalen teaching it.
Yeah, so
I like
thank you
them.
for sending those out, because I think they're huge. And any new agent that isn't opening their emails, open them
you
and
know,
link in.
CAR has a lot of classes
There's so
available
much
online.
out
And
there right now.
everyone should, especially when you're a new agent, even if you're a seasoned agent, look at them and see what you may or may not need. BayEast does the same thing. It has a lot of different classes as well. So, I mean, I would definitely recommend that you take a look. And I think we're sending those things out right now, are we not, Melrose?
What?
The CAR classes and BayEast classes.
Actually, everybody here should get an email
should get
from
an email
CAR.
on Yeah.
But sometimes when I look at it and I think there's something interesting, I will have them reblast it to the office again.
Perfect. Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce to you our CEO from BayEast, Tricia Thomas, but Tricia Thomas goes by T2, so it's much easier to say, hey, T2, come on up here. So,
And our illustrious president.
and Barbara, of course. To begin with, I knew her when she was just a kid. I mean, look at how long have you been doing this now, Tricia?
34 years.
Lord, can you imagine?
A long
Thank you.
time.
Yes, that's
Check,
right.
check.
That's all yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's been a while since I've been here. This is great. Thank you very much for inviting us.
You're welcome.
We're going to talk about a range of things, but before we start, we wanted you to get to know who the heck it is who's sitting here talking to you. So I'm going to ask Barbara Clemons, whose installation is on the 20th of January.
Got your tickets ready?
If she can introduce herself, and Barbara, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Love to see your faces. So just a little bit about me. I am a mother, grandmother to start with. But in addition to that, I fell in love with real estate a long time ago. And this was like back in the 80s. And I was at a crossroads. So I had a friend of mine who I worked with prior, because I was in high tech. And so I was going to sign up, on my way to go sign up for the Anthony School of Real Estate. Some of you old-timers know what that means, right? So I was going to go to Anthony School of Real Estate back then, and I got this call from my friend, and she says, they're hiring at this startup high-tech company, and I think you would be great. And I thought, but I want to go to real estate school. So I went and interviewed, and I got the job. And so, that started my high-tech career. So I was there for about 20 years. And I was a program manager at the time, and I had, 10, 12 people, employees. And so after the 20 years, the company was sold to Oracle. Right? So I thought, aha, this is a great opportunity for me to get back into real estate. And so that's what I did. I got back into real estate, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
Very good.
And I think that story is probably very similar to how a lot of you and a lot of our members got into real estate. You start on one path in one career, and there's a fork in the road, and you either voluntarily make a shift or you are moved to take a shift and you land in real estate. So you landed in real estate, and then you went on to become president of the association. So what was your leadership journey?
Oh, my leadership journey. Okay, so when I first came to my brokerage, which I'm still with today, so that's kind of a pattern for me, right? 20 years in high tech, so I'm just a long-term person. As soon as I set my purse down in my office or whatever, I had some ladies that come up to me and say, "You need to come to a Women's Council of Realtors meeting." So I didn't know, I went along, went there, and I had a great time, and they said, "Oh, you should join." I'm like, oh, women's organizations? That was my personal thought. I'm like, you know how we are, we can be sometimes. So, but I enjoyed it, and it was a great experience for me. And so like the next year, I became the Vice President of Membership. Well, not even 6 months later, I was the President-elect. And then so the following year, I became the President of Women's Council of Realtors. And at that time, it was called Southern Alameda County. So, because it didn't include Fremont, because you had Tri-Cities. And so, but that was the best year, one of the best years I had in real estate was when I volunteered, when I became president. So it does come with some perks, but, so I wouldn't say that, that's something that will happen all the time, but within a lot of people that happens, it occurs. So after that, I joined BayEast. Well, I was already a member of BayEast, but I became a director with BayEast, and I was on the board of directors for 6 years. That's 3 terms. During that time, I joined a few committees, local government relations. Love that committee and a few others, but that one was my first committee at BayEast. And so my term on the board was fantastic, and I decided, let me continue on. Let me continue on. And before that, I also went on to continue on at Women's Council. So I served at the state level, district vice president, governor, and then also at the national level as the regional vice president for Women's Council National. So, I just kept going, doors kept opening, and I just walked right through it. And I mean, it's been a great, great, great experience for me. And so I gleaned so much from those leadership positions, and I loved working with and talking to other people to help them on their leadership path. And that's what gave me joy as well, is bringing others along who were interested, or people who thought that well, I don't know if I could do that. Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can. And so that brought me a lot of joy. And then so with BayEast, I thought, the next step for me would be to run for treasurer. So I spoke with my CEO and I got some encouragement there, and I ran for treasurer and I won. And so that set me on a path to become an officer with BayEast. And so that's why I'm sitting here talking with you here today.
Thank you. I think we should give her a round of applause for that.
And by the way, Barbara,
Yes.
you don't have to be a woman to join Women's
That's
Council.
right, we're 10% men.
Because I was the president in 2010 of Tri-City.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. So we have several male presidents and 2 state presidents from this area. So that would be Bill Aboumerad and Mike Riley. So I'm sure most of you know them. So they went on to be state presidents as well for Women's Council. So yeah, smart men. They support.
Happy wife, happy life. Are there virtual people over there, or are we just recording this
Are we
for
virtual?
prosperity?
It's just being recorded.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
hi anyway, to your future selves. So there's a call to action there, and I think that call to action is that getting involved in the association, in anything, whether it's your local community, schools, house of worship, association. There is every time I've spoken to someone who's gone through leadership or who's volunteered, the feedback I get is, oftentimes it was my best year I ever had in real estate. And I also hear I got back more than I gave. I learned more, I made more contacts. And you heard the invitation, Barbara's invitation. If you have any interest in dipping a toe into what involvement looks like, she is ready, willing, and able to help you find a place to start at the association.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
So,
I think it's your turn now.
It's my turn. I was born in a log cabin in the came from a humble background.
With a lot of sheep.
I am fluent in both American and English. I know a couple of other languages, but I've spent my life moving around from country to country. I went to college down the street at Santa Clara University. My passion was political science and politics. I went from there to Washington, D.C., where I became a lobbyist. And I was a lobbyist for a trade organization, a 150,000 member trade organization. And I became their legislative director and ran their legislative program, testified on the Hill. I mean, D.C., I love D.C., it's a great place to be. But I burned out. And so I took a sabbatical and went to New Zealand and decided I loved New Zealand. And so I quit my job as a lobbyist to become a sheep farmer in New Zealand. I'm here, so obviously that didn't work out very well. And came, but we had, my father was very ill, so I came back to help my mom with him. And I just stayed in California. I loved it. I've lived in 4 different countries. I think I'd had, 14 different houses I'd lived in by the time I was 18. So I moved around a lot, but the Bay Area in particular, it just grabbed my heartstrings. Love it. So then I had to find a job, and I decided when I came back from sheep farming in New Zealand, I decided, well, I know advocacy and government affairs, I'll do that. So I got hired by this company called the Southern Alameda County Association of Realtors, and that was 34 years ago, and now known as the BayEast Association. We've had several mergers along the way, other associations who merged into BayEast. After being the Government Affairs Director for 7 years, I then became the CEO. So I've been around a while. I've seen some familiar faces from when I first started. But the joy that I have in my job is working with leadership. You have incredible staff at the association who really eat, live, and breathe the culture of BayEast. And that culture is we love to delight. We're transparent. We promote compassion. We listen and then we act, and we value results. And we live by that every single day. The strategic plan, we talk about it in every meeting that we do, every membership event that we create. That is really the DNA of who the association is. And part of being transparent is coming out and doing presentations like this, letting you know who is your leadership. Letting you know we are here to listen. We want your feedback. Kay, you give us your feedback frequently. Thank you very much.
and you listen,
Thank you.
and you're gracious.
Thank you. And we can't always do what it is you're asking, but when we get feedback, you're giving us an opportunity to improve, to find, is there a different way to do things? Have we not communicated well enough? Can I get some water? Sorry. I think that every interaction that we have with our members, we value, because if you take the time to tell us something, we'll take the time to listen. So that's who I am.
Oh, wonderful.
You forgot one thing,
Oh,
the most important.
no. We're not going to share that yet.
No, you still forgot the most important thing.
For you or for me?
No, for you.
Oh.
You're a mother of
Oh,
wonderful children.
right, thank
and
you.
working all that time.
I thought you were going to talk about the spinach
No,
and
no,
the tea.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Thank you. I am a mother of 2 amazing young adults who both live in Manhattan, and One works for Uber as a data analyst and strategic analyst, and the other one works for Meta, Facebook, as a recruiter for PhD candidates in AI. So they're way smarter than I am. But one of the first things that I told Chuck when he became president is the most important job you have as president is to make sure your CEO never has any spinach in her teeth when she goes to all of these events that we have to go to.
Very true.
So let's give it up for her. Yeah, good insight, Tricia. So in your 34 years, okay, let me just say this. So what she hadn't said is that Tricia is a well sought out person in the CAR and NAR realm. She is very accomplished. People ask her for advice because she does such a great job running BayEast, and she is going to be a director for NAR. She is the vice chair for
Association executives
at NAR. So we are so proud to have Tricia as our CEO for BayEast, and I want to thank you personally for the job you've done. So in your 34 years at BayEast, so I mean that's a long time. It's a lifetime, really. You know, what experience? You know, what do you see that was on the horizon for the community, for the profession?
I will tell you that I actually do have a crystal ball in my office. And that crystal ball is now so cloudy and that I cannot see through it. And if you don't believe me, stop by my office and you will see my non-functioning crystal ball. And if it were working, I'd probably break it right now because the things that are happening right now, I never could have predicted and never would have seen. And one of the ones that's getting national attention, well, actually there's another one that's getting national attention that happened yesterday.
Yes.
But the thing that, and that's a distraction. So let's talk about what's really going on. There are now over 9 lawsuits that have been filed in the state of Missouri, the state of Philadelphia, the state of Texas, the state of Georgia, and recently California. In fact, Northern California. It was filed against one of the MLSs with whom we do a data share, Berry's MLS, which is in the North Bay area. There's two, there are several of them who have been made into class action lawsuits. Let's talk about the very first one on which we have a verdict. It was not the first one that was filed, but it's the first one on which there was a verdict. Very appropriately, on Halloween, the jury in Missouri, oh, that rhymes, jury in Missouri, entered a verdict against the National Association of Realtors, against Home Services of America, and against Keller Williams. There were 2 other defendants. One was Anywhere, the Anywhere brand, and the second one was Remax, and both of them settled for a big chunk of money. And at the time, people thought that's crazy. Well, given that the verdict, the jury took, does anyone know how long the jury took?
Like 2
Hour and a half.
Less than 2.5 hours to come to a decision, and that decision was they agreed with the plaintiffs. This was a class action lawsuit, home sellers in Missouri, that the National Association of Realtors had colluded, had conspired with its members, and also the collusion also included the named franchises that I just mentioned, to fix prices for commissions above what would normally occur in a free and open marketplace. So, a couple of points. One is that decision is based on an NAR rule called, it's known by a number of different terms. One is the cooperation compensation, the other is the mandatory offer compensation. Essentially what that says is that the sellers broker must make, or must communicate, and offer compensation through the multiple listing service to the buyer's broker. NAR's rule for many, many years had said that it has to be either a percentage amount or a dollar amount. It could be as low as $1, but it had to be a numerical amount. Now, nowhere in NAR's rules did they say, oh, and by the way, the commission has to be X percent. NAR has, for decades, communicated to all of its membership that commission amounts are set by the seller's broker. That is an office policy. You don't collude with any other brokers in the area. They just say, this is our practice. This is how much of a commission we will charge. So nowhere was there any indication of this collusion. Yet this jury still ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, finding that a conspiracy had occurred. A conspiracy to fix prices is one of the 5 antitrust violations. The damages in this lawsuit were $1.74 billion. In an antitrust verdict, that gets trebled to $5.4 billion. That's a lot of money. Since that time, what's happened since that time? A couple of things. NAR has clarified its offer compensation rule. And it now says you can put 0 in that compensation field because 0 is a numeric and there is no difference essentially between 1 and 0. So you will see communications from us which say that you can now enter 0 in the commission field. The other thing that's happened is that there were several copycat lawsuits that were filed. One that was filed, I think, within hours by the same attorney who represented the plaintiffs in the Missouri suit. But 9 more lawsuits. The total damages of those, if they win, would be $13 billion. So what's going to happen next? Well, I expect we'll see more lawsuits. Right now, we have class action attorneys trolling communities to find plaintiffs. And they'll find them because that looks like a lot of money. If you ever have any interest in finding out more about how these class action lawsuits work, just Google or ChatGPT and find out how little those class action participants will get out of a class action lawsuit. I mean, we could be talking less than $1,000.
The attorneys get this.
Right. It is the attorneys who are walking away with the bulk of it.
How much do the attorneys get?
Most of it.
There's a descriptive adjective that I can't use in mixed settings like this. So I'm going to let you fill in the blanks. But it is a blank, large amount of money. So we know that NAR has made a change that's really not a significant change to that compensation field. We know that class action attorneys are trolling to find more plaintiffs and anticipate more lawsuits. What is NAR doing? They're doing a couple of things. One of the things that they're doing is they filed a motion yesterday, I believe, to decertify some of the class action lawsuits out there. They also filed a motion with the same judge in the same court in Missouri to basically declare a mistrial and say that there was some procedural rulings that NAR and the defendants felt was prejudicial to their case. one of those rulings would not let them enter into evidence the fact that in the state of Missouri, written into Missouri law, was a recognition and a validation of this offer of compensation, that it was a benefit to both the buyers and the sellers. But that was inadmissible. And the judge who presided over the case, also ruled that this was a per se violation, which means that the defendants, NAR, could not enter any evidence or have any discussion on why this offer of compensation rule benefits consumers. So they walked into that courtroom with their hands tied. There were some other things that occurred in other evidence that the judge allowed to be admitted that benefited the plaintiffs and looked very bad to the defendants, which were really like red herrings. They were distractions. So NAR believes that it has enough information to have this declared as a mistrial and have it tried again. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to go appeal this. They have to post a very significant bond in order to appeal. They've said that they have the funds for that. And so if it's not a mistrial, it's an appeal. And what if they lose on an appeal? Then they're going to appeal to the Supreme Court. So we are talking years and years before this finally gets settled and before anyone gets to grab that money. I don't know, I was, we have a saying in England, I was gobsmacked when the jury ruled the way it did, because I think what the jury was doing, I think the jury was led down a path more successfully by the plaintiff's attorneys than by the defendant's attorneys. I also think that the public in general does not know what realtors do. They don't know everything that you do. So what are the next steps? What can you do? What is NAR doing? So there is a national, NAR has this national responsibility to elevate the understanding of consumers for what their realtor does. NAR has spent hundreds of millions of dollars over the years on very feel-good advertising campaigns. You know, you get that warm and fuzzy feeling about what your realtor does. But it's emotional. It's not based on everything, the work that you do, the liability that you take, the risk, the costs that you have that may never be recovered. And so NAR has essentially fired most of its outside public relations. I shouldn't say fired. They're no longer doing business with many of their outside public relations companies, and they've narrowed it down to one. And they are going to be hyper-focused on communicating the value of realtors to whom? Consumers. Why? Because they're going to be a jury pool somewhere the next time there's going to be a lawsuit. The other thing is that what you should be doing is, well, a couple of things. One, you chose your brokerage, you chose to come to Realty Experts because they provide you with what's going on in the world, what's going on in the economy, what's going on in Fremont and all the areas in which you're doing business. And they provide you with this veil of protection, right? Because they're responsible at the end of the day for those transactions that you have. Your job is to be here at these meetings, is to read what Melrose and Chuck are sending out, is to educate yourself so you know what's going on, because your clients, the consumers, are opening up the newspapers or tuning into the news or listening to some podcast. And there have been plenty of podcasts by, like, The Economist, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, that are talking about what's going on. So you never want to be in a room with a client who says, well, what's going on with these lawsuits? you know, and what is it that you do for me? So educate yourself. Where do you go for information? There's a couple of places. I want to recommend one in particular. It's called smartzonecar.org. Melrose and Chuck are both aware of it. That's from the California Association of Realtors. It is just a great microsite in general, but it is particularly great if you're looking to communicate your value to your members. In fact, they actually have on the very top, there's several different menu options, and one of them says Realtor Value, and you click on that, and it drops down a menu which talks about what kind of scripts. Like, if you want to have a conversation with your clients, if you're in an open house, if you're door knocking, if you're following up on an internet lead, how do you communicate your value? It has a list of 167 things that realtors do to help buyers and sellers. Yes.
What's the smart zone?
smartzonecar.org, and it's so all lowercase, all runs into each other.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that Melrose or Chuck will send out that link to you all in the next newsletter.
I have sent it before, but I will do it again.
Sorry.
So you get inundated with information, right? You're getting NAR emails, you're getting CAR emails, you're getting BayEast emails on top of all the other emails that you get. And sometimes it's hard to put context around, why should I pay attention to this? So I'm here to tell you some of the things to pay attention to. Barbara will talk about some of the other benefits, but I also want to give a plug to educating yourself, and Barbara's going to follow up on that. But I heard that, is it January the 16th, that Doreen Roberts, whom hopefully you all know, she's an amazing instructor, she's going to talk to you about the buyer-broker agreements and the form that CAR has. You should know that inside and out, because your buyer clients are going to be having conversations with you. And what Doreen will talk to you about is how you have that conversation back about how the buyer-broker agreement helps to protect them. It protects them, protects you, and in many states across the country, this is a standard. In California, it has not been, but you're going to see it more and more and more. So please attend that class. And speaking of classes, Barbara.
Yes. Thank you. Well, that was great information about what's going on in the legal realm. And so, we talk about educating ourselves. And I think it's more important now more than ever that we as agents and brokers are up on the latest and greatest forms and what we need to do to be successful for ourselves and our clients. So, BayEast has a few things that we're working on, and I'd like to bring a few of those to you and let you know what we've got going on. So for the month of January, we have about 6 classes that we're bringing to you. So we're really trying to get you more information, and just, let's see, I have my glasses. But I did put this in 16-point chunks. So on January 9th, which was, today, so purchase, wow, how's that?
There you go.
They look good on you too. She may be walking home with those.
These are mine. So purchase contract scenarios and how to negotiate. This is how to negotiate them. This is Moni Knopp. You guys are familiar with him. He comes to BayEast a lot. And on January 11th, you guys are familiar with Michael Soon Lee. He's going to be talking in conjunction with Women's Council about the buyer-broker agreements. And on January 16th, you guys will be here with Noreen. This is from 10 to 12, 20 lead generations under $20. And this is also from Michael Lee. So, how we just talked about how this profession can be kind of expensive. We put out a lot of money that we invest in ourselves, put it that way. And on January 18th, we have a market forecast for home values and mortgage rates. On January 23rd, we have lifestyle home loans. We have a lunch and learn with Cheryl McCarthy. I don't know if any of you know her. And lastly, on January 30th, we have how to be the #1 offer. And this is again with Moni Knob. So BayEast is laser focused on giving you guys as much information and training as we can provide for you. So I mean, we've got things that are going on through June. Woo. So we'll get that out to you guys in Melrose, and you guys can, send that information out to your office. So yeah, we've got a lot going on with BayEast. And anything else that jumps out? Oh, so last year, we started our meetings with our events, because during our, I like to stand. Okay. So during our member surveys, you guys said you wanted more interaction, more networking. And so we provided 4 meetings within our facility, our event center. And those were, focused on like new members, getting a jump start on your career. It was just a lot of information that we provided. And so we had rave reviews on that. So we decided to continue to do that. And also we're doing outreach to other offices. So this is one, Tricia, and she and I and David will be going to a lot of offices, to a lot of brokerages, to provide information to you guys. And so, we're listening, and if there's anything else that you guys think that we should be doing, just let us know. And like we said, we're here to delight, and we're here to listen and act. So
I have another question for you.
Sure.
We've talked about preparing yourself by getting information about what's going on with lawsuits. We've talked about educating yourself. What else should members be doing for themselves?
For themselves? Oh, okay. Well, I think, education.
And role?
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have, Steve, I know Steve has brought this up many times, about the raw meetings that he started with at BayEast, and that is Realtor and Affiliate Wellness, right? So you guys familiar with that? Okay, so this is like a benefit really that BayEast is providing. So, and it's really, if you have, anything that you want to talk about, anything that is on your mind, anything that's bugging you, anything that's maybe, you're trying to, need some help with the, addictions, or just anything that's bothering you, they are there to help. They are really there to listen and not judge. There's no judgment. It's a judge-free zone. So please, if you have anything or know anyone that might benefit from that, just to let someone hear, to be heard, to be seen, just contact Steve.
Is this specifically just for realtors or BayEast members, or is it for the general public? What is it about?
Just members.
Members and affiliates. Members and affiliates. Yeah. So please, there's like I said, it's a judge-free zone.
Is it like a hotline or?
No, it's a meeting once a month,
In person.
the last Tuesday of every month at 12 noon at BayEast. It's free.
Free.
You just come get things off your chest.
Yes.
If you're stressed, that's the place to be.
Yes.
Too blessed to stress.
Yeah, some people are. But that, and also throughout the year, we want to also remind you of all the member benefits that you have available to you. Because we had this kind of talk at, I think Roya brought this up at our last meeting, event. And a lot of people weren't aware of all the benefits that we provided. And so we want you to be able to take advantage and be able to, glean from everything that BayEast has to offer to you. So,
Kay has a question.
I feel kind of embarrassed to say this, so understand that. I'd like to know, what does NAR do for me? Because up until the verdict came in, never really heard from them much. And now it's all of a sudden, and then the second CEO was just canned.
Well, no.
No.
Quit,
No.
whatever. But they got some problems. So I'd like to know, hey, what do they do for me and how come I have to keep paying them?
All
Because I
right.
don't see the value.
So that is a little box with a lot of contents. So let's see what we can unwrap right now. Why do you have to join NAR?
Well, it's a
Start with
mandate.
that. That's right.
So what do
When,
they do for me?
well, let me just finish answering this question. Because one of the questions that we've received recently is, well, we love BayEast.
Yes, we do.
Why do can we just join BayEast and not join NAR?
Yeah, can we?
No. So let me explain why. The National Association of Realtors is a federation. And it is made up of these relationships with state association and the local association. So you're able to use the realtor term, and we're able to be a realtor association because we are under that umbrella. So in order to, if you did not want to join NAR, then you'd also have to give up your membership in the California Association of Realtors and BayEast Association of Realtors. So it's a connection. Unions, it's much like the unions where they have closed shops. Very, very similar. Let's say you don't want to be a realtor, but you love working at Realty Experts. The broker is a realtor. The broker is responsible to pay NAR and CAR and local dues for every licensee hanging in his or her office. So if you decide, I love Realty Experts, they provide great services, I don't want to be a realtor, I don't want to call myself a realtor, I don't like the brand, then you could still stay in this office, but the broker, if the broker allows you to, but the broker is still going to have to pay NAR, CAR, and BayEast, the equivalent of your dues. So the broker is responsible for something called a dues variable formula. The broker is responsible for paying for local, state, and national dues for every licensee in their office. Many brokers want to be a realtor firm, and so in order to be in that firm, you need to also be a realtor. So so now you know you don't have a choice, right? If you're going to be a realtor, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. It's all in or all out. So what does NAR provide? At each level, local, state, and national, you get different benefits. You have the most insight into the benefits at the local level because we're here, right? We're going out, we're talking to you, we're communicating with you. We provide the multiple listing service, which you use. That's not done by the state or the National Association. The bucket of benefits that we have is significant. At NAR, there is less visibility. And the question that you asked is a great question because it is being asked around the country by agents and brokers. And so it's up to NAR to communicate what the benefit is. The most visible benefit is the advocacy. They help to protect the home buyers, the home sellers. They work with Congress on financing, with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, ensuring that the policy procedures are there to promote home ownership and not penalize homeowners. You would think that everybody in Congress would be in favor of home ownership, but that's not the case. So they are a real political powerhouse. The problem is that there's no insight into that. You really don't know about all these laws that could have been disastrous to your business that they stopped. I'll give you an example of where both they and the California Association of Realtors were a huge help to realtors during COVID. remember everything shut down and only essential businesses were allowed to function? They lobbied very, very hard to have real estate declared as an essential business, which meant that you could still do business. But as with everything else, we think about, so you all knew that at the time. I mean, we communicated that at the time, but you're out there trying to survive and make a living. We at BayEast are only as good as what we did for you today. And so we're constantly striving for what are we going to do for you tomorrow and the day after and the day after. NAR has that challenge too, and frankly, I don't think they've done a very good job of communicating the things that they've stopped that you may have known about for a nanosecond, but you were still doing business, so it was easy. So you don't know why or how you got to be able to do business. All of a sudden, one day we're saying, no open houses, no broker tours, we're shutting all that down. You guys, you cannot do business. And the next day we're saying, okay, it's lifted, you're declared essential. And maybe you didn't understand how that happened or where that came from. So that is something huge that they did. And that is multiplied 100 times. They have done many, many huge things. But at that moment in time, you may know it, and then you pass on, and you keep doing business, and you've forgotten it. So they've got a big job. They have approximately 1.5 million members.
That we're paying them.
Right,
It's their
but
obligation to let us know and educate us, just like you do. Why can't they do the same job as you? Or at least half as good as you?
thank you. I'll pay you later.
No,
No, I appreciate that. I think because they are national, right? We have relationships with you. I've known Jerry for 34 years, and Chuck, and Melrose, and
There's just no trickle down.
I will say it's very, very difficult to trickle down. When you think about all those communications that you're getting, yes, Jerry.
A clear cooperation with all these other boards of realtors now. What an amazing thing that is. We didn't have that when I started. In fact, Alameda was separate. We couldn't even sell houses in Alameda.
Yeah.
Now we have all these cooperations with all these other real estate firms out there that we can share information, and that kind of stuff is stuff that you were heavily involved with, and I know you were.
It was a local thing.
Well, you know
it
what?
was.
It might have been local, but NAR does some marvelous, and I'm going to tell you, you probably don't use it, maybe you do, but NAR RPR, Real Property Resources, is an incredibly powerful tool.
And who's that on?
Huh?
Is that NAR's piece?
It is, and it is free to you.
I have it. Had no idea.
You don't use it?
So,
I do too, use it occasionally, but it's inefficient.
No, it's not.
so I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop.
Okay, used properly, it's amazing. We're going to have classes on it.
Thank you, Jerry. Steve?
2 points. To Kay's point, NAR could do a better job of disseminating information, and the new CEO is laser focused on that, and you might speak to it if you'd like. Also, one other example of real-time implications of what NAR and CAR does is the tax exemption that I've talked about in this office a dozen times. It's before Congress now to raise the tax exemption capital gains from 500,000 to $1 million. That would never have happened without NAR and CAR's advocacy, period. And that's a benefit that hopefully will get passed by Congress, and if that happens, it's going to be a game changer.
And it will open up some floodgates. It will
Well,
open
they
up
tell us about this
opportunities.
stuff. I'd love to know it.
Yeah, and that's what they're working on.
And Kay, I think you're right that you don't hear from NAR.
Don't.
You can actually sign up. You can go into nar.realtor or realtor.org, and you can go into your profile and you can decide what you want to receive from them. It's in your subscriptions. And there's something called the General Forum. It's The hub is the vehicle by which they distribute these emails. You should all be receiving communications from NAR. So can I, hands up if you receive regular communications from NAR. Okay. If you're not, make sure that you haven't, it's not going to junk. Make sure that you haven't, some people say, I don't want any communications from NAR, and they're missing all the important ones. So you may have opted out of some really important communications. And it's the same with CAR, you may have opted out as well. And it's the same with BayEast. If you're not getting our stuff, you may have opted out. So you have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility. If the information is out there, we should be open to seeing it and receiving it. If you're not getting it, then I'll walk you through, I'll have my staff walk you through. The other is just an analogy. I think about my parents. I never really thought about what my parents did for me when I was growing up. I only thought, well, did I get my new pair of shoes? Do I have a new bicycle? What have you done? Was the dinner good today? It was only what's immediate. And when I look back after I became a parent, I thought, oh my God, they put me through school. They paid my health insurance. They paid the mortgage on the house. They taught me how to, stuff that they never talked about, but they did it. Think about NAR in that respect. They are doing things for you that are benefiting you in ways that maybe are not transparent, and they definitely need to work on that. We're communicating with 1.5 million people of all different ages, generations, ethnicities. There's, over 100 different languages spoken around the country by realtors. It's a huge, huge challenge. So I think it is good to always do what you did and said, what are you doing for me lately? That is a very valid question. And particularly for a trade association, always ask that.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of benefits, just like BayEast does, that, we're working to let the members know about. And I think in NAR's case, they could let us know a little bit more about the benefits, because they are good and vast, a vast array of benefits. I know travel, insurance, they've got a lot of things that could benefit our profession.
I have a video that I will send to Melrose and Chuck. It's by a man called James Dwiggins. He is a broker of Next Home, I believe, but he's also very, very active at NAR and CAR, and he has a podcast. So he's not advertising his firm, but his podcast, he interviews someone from NAR, and it's the "What have you done for me lately?" Like, what the heck? What would the world look like if NAR didn't exist? And it's fascinating.
I'd love to see that.
So I learned stuff when I saw it too, so I will send that. One of my messages this year is we're talking about the value of being a BayEast member and what it is that we do for you. And I always close with saying what you started, and that's, what have you done for us lately? Where is the value? Why should we belong? So those are great, great questions, and we welcome the opportunity to come and let you know.
Yes.
So that's it for me, folks.
Yeah, for me too. Thank you guys for having us.
You didn't touch on what's happening on the presidency part of that. That was part of case one.
Okay. So several things have happened since last August.
Are you listening? Okay, tell me about any of them.
The 2023 president of the National Association of Realtors resigned due to a lawsuit, later withdrawn, but allegations of some misconduct with some of the staff at NAR. So this is all alleged misconduct. However, he stepped down. His seat was filled by the president-elect. Her name is Tricia Thomas. Tracy Casper served out the rest of 2023. She was installed as the 2024 president in November, and yesterday she resigned. She resigned, so it's in the time since the 2023 president resigned to today, NAR has been hyper-focused on taking a look at its infrastructure, its governance, how leadership behaves, how staff at NAR is treated. They put something together called a Cultural Transformation Commission, and they appointed 75 people from around the country, and I'm one of those, to look at how do we create a different culture at NAR, a healthier culture. A lot of it has to do with governance issues and making changes so that it is a more transparent, diverse, collaborative organization. So Tracy Casper, yay, it's a huge task. And Tracy Casper, frankly, was leading that. Well, apparently Tracy Casper was blackmailed. She was a blackmailer, or I don't know who, how many.
We don't know.
Told her that if she didn't essentially compromise that governance review, that this individual or individuals would disclose damaging information about her. Information that was not financial or legal, but personal. And so Tracy said, well, I am not going to compromise what we've started, the governance of this organization, and if there's any claim about any improprietary behavior on my part, I'm not going to jeopardize the reputation of NAR, and I'm going to step down. So she stepped down yesterday.
I imagine we lost as members of NAR because she is doing that. What a great thing for
That's huge integrity.
integrity.
Yeah. And
Independent of us.
because the whole Kenny Parcell claims and resignation
Also,
dragged us all through the
It was turned
mud.
over to the law enforcement people.
Yes.
Because she's just blatantly being blackmailed.
That's a federal offense.
Yeah, good.
And once you get blackmailed once, you are now vulnerable to be blackmailed many more times. So she did the right thing. It was a great personal cost to her because NAR recently approved some rules saying that if you resign or are removed from office, you can never again hold future office nor attend NAR meetings or serve on a committee. So, and it was her executive committee that came up with that rule. Now, I think exceptions can be granted, certain circumstances, but she knew that when she resigned, she was cutting the cord after decade plus of service to the organization. So it is, so that was the presidents. On the CEOs, the CEO, Bob Goldberg, retired in November, end of November. He had been there about 33 years. He had announced his retirement a year before. He was going to stay on a little longer, but I think given the outcome of the lawsuit, the Sitzer-Burnett, Missouri case, he just decided, I think it's time to have someone else step in. So they have an interim CEO. Her name is Nakia Wright. She is a kick-ass boss woman. She is amazing. I've met her twice now. She fills a room with her presence. She comes from Chicago Sun-Times. She was their, I think, editor-in-chief or general manager. She's managed corporations through crisis. Her background is communications.
No real estate.
She actually does, you don't have to be a realtor to run a realtor organization.
I'm sure, but it would be helpful for the membership, I think.
She had a startup business that was somehow connected. I don't know if it was on the funding side, but she is familiar with it. What NAR needs right now is to reorganize, become more transparent, become more flexible, become more diverse, more inclusive, more collaborative, and get the message out to the consumers, what it is that realtors do.
Yes. Well, and to their members, too.
And to the members. So I think she's a great choice. She's only interim until they find someone else. I don't know, hopefully she'll stay, we'll see.
Are you interested in the job?
Hell no.
Because I was gonna say, you could teach them a thing or two there, I'm thinking.
No, I would be bullet ridden by the time I got to Chicago. It is, the thing I'm most proud of in 34 years is the culture I built at the association. And I've done it because we have leadership, leadership who supported this. So, Melrose, Chuck, Steve, Barbara, who have all been in leadership, been presidents. They support what it is that we do. And we don't have the infighting that many other local, state, and national associations have. So it's like that marriage, right? You know, if it takes two partners to tango, and I think BayEast tangos beautifully with the staff and leadership. So the applause goes to your leadership here.
It's a beautiful dance.
Thank you.
Okay, great job.
I think we went over, sorry.
That's okay, no. I've got some cleanup here to do. Okay, first of all, I want to thank both of you for a great presentation, don't you think so? Give them another hand, please. I also want to say, I don't know if NAR has such a pin, but I know of nobody that has been a realtor for almost 60 years. And he's sitting here in front of us. Jerry Reynolds, in March, will be 60 years as a realtor. So I hope NAR has a pin for 60 years.
We have tenure pins. You'll be wearing your
I got this 10 years ago.
Oh,
That's
time
we
for.
did 6 of them.
So anyway, congratulations, Jerry. And
60 years.
Could we
Also-
just quickly wish the January birthday folks, and Tricia and Barbara, if you guys would stay for 1 minute after, we need to take a picture, if that's okay. We want to wish the January.
yes, everybody, I don't have the list, but I know,
Well, Josephine for sure.
Josephine I know is one. Happy birthday, Josephine.
Happy birthday!
So happy birthday to all the January
Yes.
birthdays.
Also, I want to remind everybody that our first meeting coming up at Tri-City Marketing starts this coming Thursday. There is a speaker. It no longer will be every other week, every first and last Thursday. It's every week now. Super Tour,
Super Tour!
thank you, will be available. Chucky here tries to go on tour every Thursday that there is a Super Tour. Now I'll be going every week. Those who want to attend with me can do so. I can hold up to 5 agents. So I'd like you all to attend. It's really important. You get to know your peers. They get to know you. A lot of information. And Melrose, you're trying to cut me off, so go ahead. What else you got, Melrose? That's it? Okay, don't get excited. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, we'll see you again soon.